From the very first day they brought baby Elliot home, Gemma never left his side, not for a single hour. This big, gentle pitbull pressed her nose against the car seat like she already knew this tiny human was hers to protect. Gemma had always been a shadow. Wherever Elliot went, she followed. When he slept in his crib, she curled up on the floor below him, chin resting on her paws, eyes half open, always listening. The family would joke that Elliot had the most devoted bodyguard in the world, one who worked for belly rubs and never asked for a day off. When he cried in the middle of the night, Gemma lifted her head before anyone else did. She would look toward the hallway with those soft, worried eyes, almost asking, "Should I go check on him?" And sometimes she didn't wait for an answer. She just went. Everyone who visited their home saw it. Friends, neighbors, even strangers. They'd walk in expecting a typical family dog and leave talking about something they couldn't quite explain. It wasn't just loyalty, it was love with a heartbeat. But then came the day everything shifted. Elliot started preschool. The morning he left for the first time, Gemma sat by the front door and watched the car disappear down the road. Then she walked to the window in the living room, and she stayed there for hours, barely moving. Her favorite rope toy sat untouched in the corner. The ball she used to carry everywhere collected dust by the couch. The family watched her grieve in silence, and it was hard to witness. She wasn't sick, she wasn't hurt. She was just missing her boy. And a dog that loves that deeply doesn't know how to pretend otherwise. If Gemma's story is already getting to you, you're not alone. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a good time. There's so much more where this came from. So the family did what they always do when there's an animal in need. They opened their home. They fostered. And one chilly afternoon, they brought in a tiny orange kitten, clumsy and round-bellied, with ears too big for his face and more personality than his small body could contain. They called him Boops. The plan was simple. Keep him for a few weeks, find him a good home, move on. Gemma had other ideas. Their first meeting was almost comical. Gemma leaned down slowly, sniffed the air, then nudged Boops gently with her nose. The kitten puffed up like a little storm cloud, all fur and fury, hissing at something 3 times his size. Gemma didn't flinch. She just looked at him with those calm, patient eyes, like she was saying, "Take your time, I'll wait." And she did. Within 2 days, they were chasing each other through the hallway. Within a week, Boops was sleeping curled against Gemma's ribs like he'd always been there. The family would walk into the living room and find Gemma resting her paw gently on Boops to keep him still. And the kitten, instead of fighting it, would purr so loudly you could hear it across the room. Now here's something worth thinking about. Some people believe animals grieve differently than we do, that they move on quickly, that they don't really attach. But Gemma's story tells a completely different truth. Because the way she waited at that window every single day, that wasn't instinct, that was heartache. And the way she welcomed Boops, that wasn't just distraction, that was healing. Boops had his own signature move. He'd sneak up behind Gemma while she napped, tap her with one tiny paw, and bolt. Gemma would open one eye, sigh like a grandmother who's seen it all, and then, every single time, get up and chase him. They'd tear through the house like a cartoon, Gemma's nails clicking on the hardwood, Boops sliding around corners, both of them absolutely delighted. Sometimes Gemma would catch him gently in her mouth and carry him back to the couch. He'd come out covered in drool, shaking himself off, and immediately start plotting his next move. The family started calling that drool his badge of honor.
The family started keeping a mental list of their favorite moments. The time Gemma dragged Boop's tiny bed across the floor and pushed it right next to her own. The evening they found Boops sitting on Gemma's back like a tiny king surveying his kingdom, completely unbothered, while Gemma napped underneath him without a single complaint. The afternoon, Elliot came home crying over something that happened at school, and before anyone could ask what was wrong, both Gemma and Boops had already found him. Gemma with her head in his lap, Boops pressing against his ankle, both of them quiet, both of them present. No one taught them that. No one had to. Some things don't need instructions. When Elliot got home from school each afternoon, the scene that greeted him hadn't changed, except now it had doubled. Gemma at the door, tail going like a helicopter, Boops right behind her, meowing like he had a lot to say, and Elliot, backpack still on his shoulders, dropping to his knees to hug them both at the same time. Those three grew up together. When Elliot did puzzles on the floor, Gemma lay beside him, while Boops sat in the middle of the puzzle pieces like the most inconvenient paperweight in history. When he watched cartoons, they both squeezed onto the couch on either side of him. When he cried, which kids do, they were both there before any adult made it to the room.
There is a quiet truth in this story that doesn't ask to be noticed, but earns it anyway. One act of kindness changed everything. A family chose to foster instead of ignore. They opened a door for a small animal who had nowhere to go, and in doing so, they healed their grieving dog, gained a permanent member of their family, and gave their child something most people search their whole lives for: the feeling of being unconditionally loved. Because that's the thing about kindness. It rarely stays where you put it. You give a little and somehow it multiplies, quietly, without announcement, in the spaces between ordinary days. And sometimes, the life you change most is your own. Gemma never stopped being Elliot's protector. She just learned that her heart was big enough to protect someone else too. And Boops? He never did get that good home they planned to find for him, because he was already in it. He just needed someone to open the door first. If this story touched something in you, if you've ever watched an animal love someone the way Gemma loves Elliot, drop a comment below. Do you think dogs truly grieve, or do they just adapt? I want to know what you believe.